guys, Adam and Jenny here from Westcourt. Today we're going to be talking about the tax obligations of the building construction industry.
Basically, there are two very common things in the building industry. It's either you get hired as an employee or hired as a contractor. Now, there are very many differences, I guess, between an employee and a contractor. So one of the biggest thing is if you are an employee, then you wouldn't have to worry about getting your taxes, as in your pay as you go withholding, sorted, or your super as well. The company will take care of that for you. However, if you're a contractor, in most cases you will need to make sure that you do meet those tax obligations, such as the pay as you go withholding, or I guess make sure that you do allocate funds for that come tax time.
Yeah, so just leading on from that, contractors obviously, you don't get the super either, so you have to pay into your super yourself. As Jenny was mentioning, if you are a contractor, there's a bit more to do, so you'll fall under, basically you'll need to start lodging VAS. So if you're turning over 70,000 or 75,000 or more, then you're going to need to register for GST, charge GST on your invoices. Part of that, you'll start paying your tax by installments, which replaces your withholding that the employer would normally do. They basically need to be lodged, depending on your turnover, either every 3 months or once a month. A real good tool to check if you are a contractor or an employee is just head to the ATO's website. They've got a nice little decision tool there. But the gist of it is basically if you're only working for one person majority of the time, they set your hours, pretty much you are realistically an employee. If they don't want to treat you as one, you can get them to pay your super and then that should be okay, but it doesn't hurt to go on the books as well. Yeah, another one that the building construction industry has to do that most people don't, it's starting to expand now, is the taxable annual payments report. And basically what that is you have to summarize all the contractors you've paid for the year, provide their name, ABN, and the amount that you've paid them throughout the year. This needs to be lodged every single year if you pay contractors yourself, and basically that needs to be lodged by the 28th of August every year. It's basically to help, I guess, stop the black economy, as they say.
From what Adam said, it's very important to lodge those annual reports. That just makes sure that the ATO knows which companies or industries are actually meeting their obligations towards their contractors, and it also aims to level the playing field, so again preventing dishonest operators from getting an advantage.
Basically the TPAS stops cash payments from happening. The ATO has released guidance from July 19, and basically if you're not being provided with a tax invoice with a valid ABN and you make a cash payment, those payments will no longer be deductible for your tax. So it's definitely in your best interest to make sure when you are paying an invoice for a contractor, do a quick ABN search on them. Just look up ABN, look up on Google, type in their ABN, and then it'll tell you if it's valid or not, because it does need to be valid. The whole reason you need to do that is because a couple of years ago, quite a few tradies were actually putting Bunnings warehouse ABNs down on their invoices. So it was threw a bit of spatter in the works there for the ATO when they were getting all these TPAs coming through, and all of a sudden Bunnings was apparently invoicing a lot of people.
So yeah, just going back to making sure you meet your tax obligations. So obviously there are penalties and charges that will be applied if you do not comply. Some of those penalties are the pay-as-you-go withholding penalty for failing to deduct, or one of the biggest ones is the super guarantee charge, in which companies or contractors are required to, I guess, contribute to super, and those have to be paid by a certain date. So if there are any shortfalls, there will be interest charges on those shortfalls. There's also admin fees and additional super guarantee charge of up to 200% of the amount. Very important to make sure that your payments are made for that super guarantee.
And that comes back to whether you're an employee or a contractor. So definitely, if in doubt, ask your advisor to have a look at it for you. They can provide some guidance on whether someone is a contractor or not. But basically, if it, as we like to say here, if it walks like a duck, talks like a duck, it's a duck. So for all intents and purposes, if a contractor is wearing your gear you're setting their hours, they're going to sites that you tell them to, they're realistically going to be an employee, so it will pay to actually withhold all the relevant employee obligations there. You need to lodge your tax returns as well. So that's depending on how you operate. If you're in a company, you'll probably prepare financials as well, so you still need to do your tax returns depending on your size. And if you use a tax agent, which you should be, you get concessional lodgement dates. So if you're just a small little sole trader, chances are very high you're not going to actually need to lodge until May the next year. However, obviously you can get it done a bit earlier if you're going to have a tax refund as well.
I think we've covered it all.